Okay. Okay. Hello, class. How are you? I'm Leonel's dad, and we're going to talk about the history of the Macintosh mouse. These are all the Macintosh mice through history from 1984 all the way up to the present. And so let's talk about each mouse one by one. Douglas Engelbart was the gentleman that invented the mouse, but the problem with his mouse and the mouse that came immediately afterwards is that they were very experimental, they were very unreliable, they were very difficult to mass produce. And Apple is the first company that made a really good commercial mouse that could be mass produced, that was very cheap to make, that was very reliable. It's right here. This is the original Macintosh mouse. And can you tell what's unusual about this mouse? It has only one button. Apple through history has been kind of stubborn. You know, a lot of other mice have multiple buttons, but Apple has always made its mouse with one button. But this is a very famous mouse. This is the most famous mouse in history because it's the mouse that came with the first Macintosh computer in 1984. Very famous mouse. I have this with an original Macintosh computer in my office. The only problem with that mouse is that it was a little blocky. It was a little hard to hold in your hand. So that was a bit of a problem. So Apple modified, a few years later, modified the mouse so it was a little easier to hold in the hand. Can you tell how, how it has kind of a contoured shape? So it's a little easier to hold in the hand. But can you see what's unusual about this mouse? Still only one button. Apple is very stubborn. So this is the mouse that was used for many years. It was kind of squarey, kind of blocky. It was a little hard to hold in the hand. So, again, Apple through the years keeps changing the design of the mouse. Came out with this mouse, which in my opinion is one of the best designs because it's nice and curved. It kind of fits the hand very well. Very, very nice mouse. I should point out that all the mice that I've shown you so far use a little rubber ball for tracking, which was kind of an innovation that came after Douglas Engelbart. But again, this mouse, one button, just one button. Now here's where things get really interesting. Apple, when it came out with the first iMac, the iMac was one of its very famous computers. It decided to go in a completely different direction with the mouse, and it came out with this mouse, which is very unusual. It's completely round, kind of looks like a hockey puck, and that's why it's nicknamed the hockey puck mouse. And Apple, when it came out with this mouse, said, "It's fine. This mouse is fine. What's the problem? It's a very nice mouse. It's very comfortable." And everybody else was saying, "No, it's very uncomfortable." And Apple kept saying, "Yes, it's comfortable," and everyone else kept saying, "No, it's not comfortable." But so this is a very, very, very controversial mouse design. It didn't last very long because Apple finally realized its customers weren't happy. So again, it went in a completely different direction with the mice. And it came out with this design, which is my absolute favorite. It has a very nicely contoured shape. It's kind of transparent. When you plug this into the computer, you can't tell right now, but it kind of lights up inside. And you can't see a button. You know why you can't see a button? Because the whole mouse is a button. You click the whole mouse. Here, click the whole mouse. You click the whole mouse, and the whole mouse clicks. So that's very cool. I really like this mouse, and this mouse came in a special box, and it was unveiled at a Macworld computer show. And Steve Jobs was talking about the new mouse design, and then he told everybody in the audience, "Look under your chair," and everybody had one of these mice as a present under their chair. So that was kind of cool. I'm sorry I wasn't there. And you'll remember, class, that I was telling you how the mice use a rubber ball. So this mouse, the original mouse, had a little rubber ball. The next one had a rubber ball. See that? Rubber ball. Rubber ball. But then Apple, like a lot of other mouse manufacturers, switched to optical tracking. Optical tracking was very important. See, there's no ball. No ball. The optical tracking sort of senses the movement and the position of the mouse. And that's kind of important because the problem with the little rubber ball is the little rubber ball over time gets full of gunk, gets full of dirt, and when it gets dirty, the cursor on your screen starts skipping around because the mouse becomes less reliable. So it was very annoying. You'd have to open the mouse every so often and sort of clean it with a Q-tip and rubbing alcohol. That was kind of a pain. So it was really cool when Apple came out, with, all the mouse have, all the later mice have optical. But still, only one button. Are you detecting a trend here? Only one button. But finally, Apple did something very interesting, something very, very unique. It came out with what it calls the Mighty Mouse. Here's the Mighty Mouse. The Mighty Mouse is very, very similar in that the whole thing clicks. Just one big button. But there are some interesting variations. These little things on the side are extra buttons. I don't like those. Those are kind of hard to use. But what's really cool is that the surface sort of detects where your finger is. So if you click here, it acts as one button, and if you click here, it acts as another button. So it physically is one button, but it's designed to sort of sense your finger, so it's actually two buttons. It's a little awkward because you can't press the second button without taking your finger off the first button. So it's a little awkward to use, but it's kind of an improvement over this mouse. So. And this is also unique. Instead of a roller, a wheel like is found on many mice, it has a little ball, and you can turn the ball and move your cursor in all different directions. So that's kind of cool. Then Apple did a variation on the Mighty Mouse. Can you tell what's different about this one? What's missing here?
No wire.
No wire. This is a wireless Bluetooth mouse. So that's kind of cool. If you take your laptop on the road, you can throw this in your suitcase and sort of use it when you're traveling. So now we get to the very end, and Apple went. Apple keeps completely redesigning its mice, and now it went in a completely new direction, and it came out with the Magic Mouse. It's called the Magic Mouse. It has a very interesting shape. Look at that. Very cool. Kind of a cool shape. It has kind of a sloped, shiny surface. It's very low to the desk, so that's a little controversial. But this mouse has something very special, very unique. It's the first mouse that is a touchpad, so you can do different things when you're controlling the mouse. Like this other mouse, depending on where you put your finger, there are different buttons. But it also has gestures. There's no wheel or ball. There's just a surface. But if you want to scroll up and down a web page, you just kind of move your finger up and down to scroll. And if you want to flip from one window to the next, left or right, you can use a two-finger flipping gesture. So it's a mouse that is also a touch-sensitive pad. So that's very unusual. That's very interesting. So that class is the whole history of the mouse from 1984 all the way up to the present. And again, this one is my favorite. This is my absolute favorite. I love the shape. I love the appearance. This one's the worst. This is the most classic one, and this is the newest and most advanced mouse. This is one of the most advanced mice in existence right now. Thank you very much. Thank you for listening.